So I know the name Saint Vincent came from a Nick Cave song, but what I was wondering is does it work just like a stage name, or does it have a persona attached to it?
I think that the more I've developed developed the character, as it were, or the persona, yeah, it sort of started to take on a little bit of a life of its own. Not in such a way that feels like damaging or schizophrenic, but the very fact of the matter is, the second you get up on stage, you are another person. You're not the person, you're supposed to be larger than life. You're supposed to be a part and a guide for an experience. So you're not going to do that in track pants, a cozy sweater.
Yeah, you develop a character, but it's still, even if you have a character, you're performing, you put a lot of yourself out there. There's a lot of energy, physical energy, but also emotional energy. And I was wondering, how do you manage to keep that energy after you're out months on the road, like playing day after day, and not get extremely beat down?
That's a good question. I mean, I have the best job in the world and I love it. And playing music gives me energy. But it does, I mean, I would be lying if I said that I was never tired or I never felt kind of drained or insane. But the thing is, because it's such a surreal, suspended fishbowl of a reality, we're in these, we go from one moving pod to another moving pod to a stage, and then to another moving pod to another stage. Your consciousness just kind of changes, and the way that your hibernation mode, your like airplane mode, sleep mode. I mean that like we're computers and you just put us on like sleep. All of that you kind of have to sort out and figure out just how to kind of like reserve this part of you in order to be able to like give it for the show. And it does take a lot of energy. I'd be lying if I said it didn't, or that it was never tiring, but it's still my favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah, and it's also that you go from place to place, like you're in Brazil and last week in Argentina, so it's obviously exhausting anyway, but there's this persona that you can channel things. Now, I wanted to know that, I know that inspiration also comes from many different places, and that your second album, Actor, was partially inspired by Disney movies. But I wanted to know, do you remember what was the weirdest thing that inspired you to write a song?
The weirdest thing that inspired me to write a song? Oh, actually, it was on my second record. It was a song called Just the Same but Brand New, and a friend of mine was talking about this eccentric New Yorker on the Upper East Side who had hired her, she was an interior designer, to come in and redo her home. Just totally redo it. But she wanted it exactly the same. She just wanted, fresh upholstery, but it had to be the same upholstery as the thing before, and the same wallpaper, just new. And so so I wrote a song with the lyrics just the same and brand new. I mean, obviously I kind of transposed it into something more personal than wallpaper, but that was among the more interesting things.
And I know that Rattlesnake, for instance, was inspired by a real event that happened, but only afterwards that a friend mentioned that it could be a song. But when was the time, was there ever a time that you were doing something completely out of nowhere, had an idea and you had to write it down right there, right then, and had no way to do it?
Every day. Well, every day. I have like lists and lists and lists of things on my phone. That I feel like, okay, maybe that could be, maybe that there's a song in there. I'm trying to think of one of the more recent ones that could be interesting. Oh God, I'd have to look at my phone. Yeah, anything people say. it's all fair game. It's all fair game.
That's awesome. And each of your albums shows this sonic expansion, and the music gets new layers and new sounds and new stuff happens. And you said that these shows that you're doing on this tour, you wanted to make them a real experience that involves theatrical and there's dance. And I was wondering, do you plan on exploring the audio-visual possibilities of your music further in the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think technology will continue to play a big part in what I do going forward. I mean, the sort of boring nuts and bolts aspect of it is that I wanted to do a show that was easily transposable, that was simple in its concept, and that used kind of the most minimal physical, not minimal physical effort, but like used my analog self to sort of talk about this kind of meta message. And also, I mean, there's that like overarching theme, but you know, mostly we just want to like play a show that moves people's hearts and all that, and all that stuff. So the easiest way to do that was like, well, my body, my physical body. What can I do with my physical body that is interesting? I mean, first to me, you know, that has meaning. And then what the choreography does to the show is it kind of creates this subconscious narrative and arc, and people can it's like, you know, ancient symbols and stuff. People can just superimpose their own meanings onto the movements that you make. So it's not so literal, but hopefully it's more engaging because it's not so literal.
Okay. Now, one thing is that your music is very surprising. The notes, they make very surprising things. There's always the sounds that you don't expect, but at the same time it's very precise, and you see that's this technique that's very on point, and the chaotic energy at the same time. I wanted to know, do you believe that, like Shakespeare said, there's method to madness?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, we were just talking about this a couple nights ago. It's like, I'm in no way comparing myself to Leonardo da Vinci, but the reason that he was so incredibly great at drawing and painting the human form is because he was hanging with the de Medicis, just taking apart the cadavers, going, let's look under the hood, let's see how this thing works. And I'm obsessed with how things work. Why, oh, this thing works? Why does it work the way it works? Okay, let's take it apart, let's deconstruct it, and kind of get to the bones of it and see why it's even put together this way. What's the form? And therefore what's the function? So I'm a firm believer in that as being key to the whole process.
Okay, thank you very much then.
Thank you.
Thank you.